episode 2. Your team doesn't live at work, and neither should you. Why 50 to 60 hour managers aren't impressive anymore. Some of you aren't burnt out because you hate the industry. You're burnt out because the structure you're working inside of stopped making sense a long time ago. And the crazy part, we talk about it all the time, yet act like it's not happening. But eventually, some of us start listening to our inner thoughts and decide enough is enough. Since the thought of not working 50 hours a week is a reality now, is a great incentive for people to keep leaving. There are already better options out there. People don't want to put up with this type of manager schedule anymore. It's not because they are incapable. People are just understanding their worth now. Plus, once you see that a manageable schedule is possible, it's pretty hard to get rid of that idea. Now, if you're in the position of either having a hard time filling a manager position or having a hard time keeping your current management team happy, then this is the point where we stop running from the problem and start fixing it. Because congratulations, you're reaching the point of total chaos. People are over destroying their lives for a schedule that never should have existed in the first place. That's why management roles are getting harder to fill. And honestly, I'm happy we finally come to that. Because this whole work is your life management culture, it's outdated and underpaid. We've been talking about it in silence long enough. It's time we start saying it out loud. Welcome to The Turnaround. I'm Natalie Flores, and this isn't a How to Survive Your Job podcast. This is for managers in the service industry who are done thinking they have to be the glue holding everything together. Because if your workplace runs better when you're gone and you're not seeing that, that's the real problem. Or if things only work with you there, that's not leadership. That's a broken system. So on this show, we figure out why that happens and fixing it so the job works with you, not around you. Let's fix the system. Your team doesn't live at work, and they make sure to build their schedule in a way where they don't feel like they live there either. Guess who else needs to start doing that? Yep, you, the manager. And I already know some of you are listening to this and already getting your feathers worked up and preparing to tell me, well, Natalie, my situation is different. Someone has to be there. There's too much to do. I care more than everyone else. Yeah, sure. Okay. All of those things can be true. Still doesn't mean you have to be there all day and night and every day. See, a lot of managers have convinced themselves that passion equals the amount of time you spend inside the building on top of romanticizing exhaustion, like a proud battle wound. Now, I've worked those shifts where if you didn't stay long enough or if you aren't totally mentally and physically wiped, did you even work? Well, as a fellow burnt-out queen, I'm gonna stop you right there. You and your team can absolutely care about the job equally. You can both be passionate. You can both love hospitality. And you can both care deeply about your workspace. However, only one of you is truly succeeding in the workplace. And that person, or group really, is your team. Because they know where and when they need to be there. What work needs to be completed and when they need to leave. That is true success. Managers who work too long and too many days in a row may not have failed completely, but they need to rearrange things at work to truly succeed. As Stephen Bartlett often says, burnout is not a badge of honor. That type of schedule isn't impressive anymore. Nobody looks at someone working 60 hours a week now and thinks, wow, what dedication. Most people look at it and think, wow, it's so sad. And listen, I know some of you are uncomfortable hearing that, but this newer workforce, they are not tolerating that lifestyle anymore. And we should be thankful for that. Because for years, hospitality has been gaslighting managers into believing burnout was normal, an essential part of the job. I see it in job descriptions all the time. Subject to overtime when needed, capable of wearing many hats, the usual red flags. That if you couldn't handle 50 to 60 hours a week, maybe you weren't built for leadership or, this role just doesn't fit you. Which is crazy because that's such a far fetch from the truth. That's manipulation 101 right there. And that mindset is finally starting to crack. Whew. As Mrs. Doubtfire once said, help is on the way, dear. And that help is this new workforce finally questioning and pushing back on the outdated standards everyone keeps trying to normalize. Now, before some of you panic, I'm not saying you're going to magically drop from 60 hours a week down to 30 overnight. I get it. That's unrealistic. Okay, so relax. That type of schedule becomes an addiction after a while. That's why they are called workaholics. Especially when you've convinced yourself the place can't function without you. You get used to the chaos, used to overworking, always being needed, always being the fixer. And honestly, a lot of managers built their identity around being needed. And that's why stepping back feels terrifying, because suddenly your brain just starts going, oh my God, who is gonna do everything? What if things fall apart? What if I'm not needed? What if the team messes everything up? Trust me, those lines were on repeat in my mind at one point too. The goal here is not to abandon your responsibilities or just throw your work onto other people, okay? The goal is structure. Big difference. Yes, hospitality is chaotic, but for the most part, it's the same chaos happening on the same days at the same times. There's usually only 3 or 4 types of customers you're consistently dealing with, depending on your workplace. That right there is the predictability factor you need to consider when planning your new work structure so you're not there all the freaking time. Only when you're actually needed. And what's going to help you do that? Your sales forecast. That's your guide. Now, if you're a fellow workaholic manager, the next thought you probably have is, well, if I'm not there all the time, then I'm gonna get fired. That is you gaslighting yourself. And I'm not trying to get you fired. You are not going to get fired for creating a more structurally supportive work system. If you genuinely feel like you're going to get fired for trying to build a healthier, more sustainable operation, then do what I usually do. I brush up on some labor laws. Yep. Not only so you have something to reference, but to remind yourself what type of just legal support you actually have if something fishy is going on. And honestly, managers need to be more informed about that information in general. Those laws exist for a reason. They're there as reminders for you that when you make, these changes, when you start creating healthier systems, clearer expectations, and more realistic work structures that actually have boundaries, you're being reasonable. You're thinking logically. You're building from legitimate values, not values rooted in fear. Look, I'm just trying to get your life back. Because honestly, you work too hard to lose it. Sure, you might feel like you lost it now, but hey, we're trying to get that back. You can get anything back. Trust me. I don't want you to end up like me. The burnt out manager who gave everything to the job and still got burned at the end. There's a difference. Because somewhere along the way, some of you genuinely forgot you're allowed to be a person outside of work. You forgot sleep matters, rest matters, relationships matter, silence matters, joy matters, And you will become a better manager once your entire nervous system isn't fried from working 24/7. Or really, 66. Get it? 60 hours in 6 days. All right. Anyways, moving on. Now let's talk about the thing nobody wants to admit, especially my salary managers. A lot of you are technically only contracted for 40 hours. But somewhere along the way, hospitality turned salary into unlimited access to your soul. And people accepted it because that's just the industry. I sure did. No, that's the industry refusing to evolve. If your contract says 40 hours and there's no overtime attached to those extra 15 to 20 hours you keep giving away, you are literally working for free. There aren't enough free lunches or dinners that can compensate for all that time. And before anybody gets defensive, this is not me saying don't work hard. This is me saying work smarter. Because if your system only functions when somebody destroys themselves to maintain it, that's not a system. That's a patch job. And eventually, the workforce catches on to that, which is exactly what's happening now. The workforce in hospitality is saying, this doesn't work for us anymore. And I'm sure you're saying that to yourself too. Or if they see that their company is looking to fill a management position and the rest of the team is probably thinking, oh man, who's going to fill that job? I think that says enough in itself. And for the higher-ups, they are panicking because they don't know how to answer that shift. And just to sprinkle in a little bit of a credibility here, the National Restaurants Association has already talked about how difficult management roles are becoming to fill. The Bureau of Labor Statistics keeps showing hospitality still has some of the highest turnover rates. Yikes. And then you've got Gen Z and millennials asking completely different questions now when they are in the interviews, which is, what's the work-life balance like? What's the flexibility? How does this job support my mental health? And those higher-ups are sweating trying to answer those questions, honestly. Because deep down, everybody knows the structure is outdated. But a lot of people are either overworked themselves because they're also trying to function inside the same broken system, or they genuinely don't even know how to make those changes. Because changing a workplace structure can feel terrifying. It is a big task. It's like pulling a block from a Jenga tower. You know, something is unstable, but nobody wants to be the person responsible for the whole thing collapsing. This industry is intense. I see it all the time. It's like jumping on a runaway train or the ultimate Sunday scaries. So, how do you conquer the Sunday scaries? You finally face the things this industry keeps avoiding. And they're the same 5 issues: burnout, the 50 to 60 hour work weeks, managers covering everything instead of actually managing, expectations changing while the structure stays exactly the same, and pretending this broken system isn't broken and totally normal. That's it. Not laziness, not weak workers, not people who don't want to work anymore. Just people tired of destroying themselves for a system that stopped making sense a long time ago. Okay, people want to work smarter, not harder. Now here's where this conversation shifts from ranting to rebuilding. Because I don't want to complain about the problem. I genuinely want to help fix it. And this is where managers need to start thinking differently. You need to stop building schedules around guilt and start building schedules around forecasting, structure, overlap, communication, intentional coverage. That's leadership. So let's talk about options. Here are some schedules you could honestly start implementing next week if you wanted to. And the funny part, these schedules already kind of follow the crazy schedule a lot of you are currently working right now. Except now, there's actual intention behind it. This is how you can work 40 hours while still being inside the chaos, without feeling guilty. How? Well, you'll still be present, duh. Just only when it actually matters. Instead of reacting to chaos all week with no break in sight, which honestly just equals insanity, now you're building a structure around it. And you'll finally know when you can actually take the break you desperately deserve. Okay, option 1, 3 12-hour shifts. You're probably already doing that anyway. Now, remind yourself. That's 36 hours. You've done the time. Plenty of time. Except now, you're doing it intentionally instead of being there because you're the manager. You're gonna work your peak days, which are usually Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Use your sales forecasting to gauge when you actually need to come in. And trust me, those numbers are written down somewhere. You can find it. So when you do find it, just looking at it, you'll be able to know when your presence actually matters instead of just living there out of habit. Okay, incoming hard boundary here. You need to tell this to yourself every day. If the place isn't on fire or there isn't a real emergency, there is absolutely no reason for you, or if you're saying this to yourself, there's no reason for me to go in early. Your other managers can handle what's going on. That's literally why they're there. And remember that every day. Okay? Because I get it. Sometimes you have the urge, like, especially if you do have a day off, you're like, what's happening? Why hasn't anybody called me or texted me? I should see what's going on. And it's like, no, stop it. Stop it right there. Repeat that little mantra to yourself. That boundary is not only there for the workplace, it's also there for you. Okay, let's get back on track. Once you have that little schedule going on, then you're going to use a scheduling overlap with your other managers to fill in the gaps with the hours that you either won't be there or you can both be there together and make sure the ship is running smoothly. Okay, and by that, you're creating the perfect mix of you being present when needed, your other managers being present when needed, and the team learning how to run smoothly without depending on you every second. Because that's what your other managers are for. Then use the remaining 4 hours that you have of the 36, 36 to 40, the other 4 hours. Use that extra time that you have. Put that towards the slow periods in the week. The Mondays and the Tuesdays that are historically the slowest points in every sales forecast in hospitality, okay? You have them. Use that time. Use those days to catch up with your team and your management team. Use that time to go over what's working, what's not working, what needs to change, what needs support. Make a strict, and I mean strict, meeting schedule within those 4 hours, okay? It should include when you're meeting with them, what you're going to be meeting about, and the exact time frame of the meeting. You could even send it out ahead of time just so, everybody knows what actually needs to be discussed so the meeting doesn't turn into some random conversation that annoyingly lasts 2 hours. Also, if someone random comes in and they aren't on the schedule, tell them to send you an email. Seriously, this is how you force structure in a productive way. This is how real change actually happens, not by accepting endless excuses for poor management, okay? Doing all of those things, being strict about things, and by things I mean strict about your time, that is management, And one thing my guy, Ryan Holiday, always says is every time you say yes to something else or someone else, you are saying no to yourself. And man, does that hit home. Mediocre management is just surviving chaos every day. Real management is working in chaos like a real boss, the Alice Waters way. Okay, here's another option. You could also do 2 12s and 2 6s, and that's still going to put you around the 36-hour mark. Okay, you and your management team can rotate between the option 1 that I gave you and this option 2. You guys could either do that bi-weekly, during someone's vacation period, or when a fellow manager just needs a more flexible schedule so they can actually say yes to all the invites they've had to deny all these years. And you and I know that's a lot. Okay, and I love this setup because it creates balance. You can rotate schedules with your other managers, that creates fairness. It creates predictability. The thing the workforce has been begging for? Well, now you have it. If you work in a space where there are more than 2 managers, or if you have a shift lead that can help managing the floor, it's right there. You have everything you need to have a balanced schedule where you're not at work all the time. Okay? And look, I'll even give you another option to even create even more flexibility. You could also do 4 10s. Now that one is super underrated. 40 hours in 4 days. Consistent presence. You can be there during peak and slow shifts. Enough time to lead efficiently without feeling like you sold your soul to the building. You're already there more than the average 8-hour day. So, that is the extra time. And no matter which structure you choose, the point is you are going to be intentional from now on with your time because you're going to have real, purposeful, boundary-driven flexibility following this system. That's the difference. Now, sometimes when someone like me comes around with this beautiful dream of just change all these things and magical things can happen, I'm over here talking the talk, and you're probably wondering, are you going to do any walking with this? And the answer to that is, yes, I am. Now listen, most managers never attempt to rebuild their schedule because they don't know where to start. I get that. And because of that, when you've also been operating in survival mode for years, trying to rethink your entire workload does feel overwhelming, okay? It's just like, how could you not want to look away? But no worries. This is where I'm going to help you make this dream into a reality, okay? And that's why I made this free guide for you. It's called Job Expectations versus Reality, the bait and switch struggle. Before you change your schedule, you need clarity first. You need to see where your time is going, what's actually keeping you there, what responsibilities drifted onto your plate, where the dead time exists, where the structure is falling, and what realistically needs to change. Because some of you are way deeper into this than you realize. The guide helps organize your thoughts so this doesn't feel like a giant, impossible life rebuild, okay? It gives structure to the chaos. It completely removes that where do I even start mindset, because the guide is set up for you to simply fill in the blanks. And from there, the roadmap to finally getting a break begins. And that matters. Real change only happens when people can finally see what's actually happening. And look, your team probably wants you to step away more than you realize. Not because they hate you, maybe a little annoyed with you, but definitely they don't hate you, okay? They want you to step away because they know you need a life too. The lack of you having one is starting to show. They know if you actually took some real time for yourself, you'd come back calmer, more focused, less reactive, more human. Sometimes your team works better when you aren't there because they finally have some space to breathe. They can think independently, and depending on the type of manager you are, they might be able to rebuild their confidence. Now, that doesn't mean you're a bad manager. I get it. It feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Okay, it just means the environment has probably become too dependent on you. And dependency is not the same thing as leadership, okay? I'm reminded of that every day with my daughter. A strong team should function with you and without you. That is the goal. And some of you seriously need to hear this next part. Your work is not who you are. You are allowed to go live a little, because chances are you were probably at your best when you first got the job, back when you still had a little life outside of work, before the industry slowly consumed all of it. So go, sit in silence, listen to music, go outside, get some sun, get some sleep, see your family, laugh again. Because this industry is loud, it's fast-paced, it's crazy. And you know what? It'll be there right when you get back, doing the same old thing without missing a beat. And that's why you need to just leave. Get some joy and just literally be in some peace and quiet. So, here's what I want you to do starting today, okay? Write everything down. Everything. Every task, every interruption, every responsibility, every fire you keep putting out, every piece of dead time. Actually look at what's consuming your schedule. Then ask yourself, what genuinely needs me? What can be delegated? What system is missing? What expectations stopped making sense years ago? That's where the rebuild starts. And if you need help organizing all of that, go download the free guide. The guide is just going to help you organize all the craziness to make sense. You do not need to figure this out alone, okay? I'm right here with you. All right. Well, that's the episode. A 30 to 40 hour work week is possible, but it only happens when you stop normalizing dysfunction and start building intentionally. I want to hear what happens when you finally step away a little. What did you do with your time? Even if it was nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is healing. Tell me about it. I also want to hear how the workplace survived without you being there. Okay? I want to hear it all. So, if this episode hit home for you, subscribe, share it with another manager, or if you have a friend, or even for yourself, if you guys aren't managers, if you know somebody doing way too much at work and you see that they're slowly losing their life from the outside, send this to them too. One more thing. Go get the free guide, okay? Job expectations versus reality. The bait and switch struggle. It's free. And we can use free things all the time. Because this industry does not need more exhausted managers. Or more people trapped inside dysfunctional jobs pretending they're okay. That type of system, it's obsolete. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into The Turnaround. If this episode resonated with you, hit subscribe and stay connected. And hey, make sure to sign up for my email list. You'll get updates on upcoming episodes, quick recaps of past discussions, exclusive sneak peeks to tools I'm developing to help managers build a better workplace, and many more. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. Let's build workplaces where people actually want to be. Until next time, lead with integrity. And remember, the glass isn't half full or half empty. Sometimes it's just broken, and you're ready for an upgrade. Take care of yourself and your team. You've got this. I'll see you soon. This podcast is sponsored by the Mini Baker Co. Miniature cakes for people and dogs. This podcast is also sponsored by Natalie Flores' voiceover services.